Yesterday, we talked about the bombshell announcement that Rockstar was making its developers, its artists, its employees return to the office in April so that they could finish making Grand Theft Auto 6, which provided some good news because the game is in the final stretches of development, but also bad news for the employees of Rockstar Games as they reacted to the news that they would have to be returning to the office. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how the internet and the video game industry has reacted to this. And in order to get the responses that I did, I went over on Twitter or X. I went to Jason Schreier's post, who actually, debuted the news that this was going to be happening. And I went through as many responses as I could to get from the video game industry leaders. I'm sure there is a ton more out there from many of people, but particularly this is interesting for people that are also working on video games because this is like right in their backyard. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. We begin with P.O., who is a 3D artist at Sunderlust Games, saying they're shooting themselves in the foot. It will 100% cause delays because key workers who are able to work from home and would otherwise avoid getting sick from the still ongoing pandemic will catch more you-know-what and lose weeks of productivity. And for what? Avoid leaks? Come on. MJ Lewis, who is head of production at Firestoke Games, said, a policy like this being implemented in my workplace would be no different to redundancy. Remote and or flexible work arrangements aren't just a preference for people with complex health conditions or neurodivergent folks, they're a necessity. Julian, who is a senior level designer at Crytek, said, so still 2 days working remote, pretty fair deal. Obviously, he's joking there, referring to the fact that they don't have to work on the weekends on Saturday and Sunday. So some people trying to find either the sarcasm or the dark humor in this, I guess you could say. Kyle, who is a senior 3D animator in TV, said, if you want to tank the perceived desirability of working at your studio, then do this. Most of your existing workforce will instantly hate you, and would-be hires will get the message that you'll hate them too. Ed Coates, who is the lead user interface designer at Radical Forge, said this is exactly the kind of opportunism I've been afraid of. You think the industry was bad before? Now there are 17,000 people out of work in a shrinking job market. The big studios know they're the ones with the power now, and some of them will abuse it. I'm terrified. Blake, who is a senior QA tester on High on Life, said, if only there were several years of data proving that remote work in games is better for the entire company. Max Krieger, a game developer, ended up saying, I bet you Rockstar is saving their layoffs for after they've shipped this game, and it will be absolutely detestable if that's true. David Gator, the co-founder and creative director at Summerfall Games, said, right now when game devs have every reason to unionize, they're probably least willing to because they're now all terrified and being threatened with the idea of thousands of laid off devs who they'll be told would swallow worse conditions and pay and like it. Drew, who is a senior staff character, texture, and look developer, said headline should be Rockstar lays off all remote workers. Bianchi, who is a former Bungie developer, said this, return to office mandates are layoffs. Remote workers are effectively told move or quit. Hannah, who is a producer at Good Shepherd Entertainment and an ex-QA extraordinaire, ended up saying this is BS. It's been proven time and time again that forced return to office is bad for productivity. Catching a deadly and disabling disease that can cause brain damage isn't very good for talent retention either. But they don't care about their employees. This is about power/control. Jonathan Cooper, who works at Apple on Vision Pro, said, do as we say or good luck finding another job in this market, end quote. Max Nichols, who is a senior activity designer at Bungie, said, Rockstar lays off all remote workers without severance, end quote, which I'm assuming he says this should be the title of the article. Megan, who is a narrative designer / world designer at Thirsty Suitor, said, the deluge of industry-wide layoffs is an opportunity for C-suites everywhere to push through unpopular policies. make workers feel precarious and fearful, and use that uncertainty to reduce their options. Even if you aren't laid off, the layoffs affect your rights. Peter Dimitrov, an environment artist at Rebellion working on Sniper Elite 5, said, "Sounds like soft layoffs to me. Also, it's amusing how many people read this as, quote, game devs don't want to work 5 days a week. How many days do you think we work so far? It's always been 5. That's not the story in this." And I don't know what this individual currently does, but when I read their response, it sounded like they used to work at Rockstar, saying, "Once again, leaving Rockstar in 2019 was the best decision of my effing life." Going on to say, "Fun fact, around this time in 2019, I was getting disciplinaries for taking, quote, above average sick days over a 12-month period. You know, the 12-month period, which included mandatory working 9 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., 6 days a week, sometimes 7. So it is interesting that primarily most people that are commenting and reacting to this aren't really focused on the fact that Grand Theft Auto 6 has entered the final stages of development. I think everyone can say that that is great news. What I think people are worried about the most is how Rockstar is going to go about the game entering the final stages of development, and if they're going to go back on practices like in Red Dead Redemption 2, where they were having their employees work long hours into late nights, a practice called crunch that typically is used when games are almost ready to go. And the fact that crunch has to be used is because you have a lot to do in so little time. And in Rockstar's case, they are striving for perfection, and they have had that expectation for a long time now, but especially with Grand Theft Auto 6, since this is probably going to be the game of the decade, if not the game of the century, there's going to be that extra dose of perfection required here, and that's what people seem to be worried about. And again, from Rockstar's side of things, they're citing productivity, and they're also citing security concerns, and you could kind of make arguments for both. I think this is going to be a very discussion-heavy video, so if you do end up leaving a comment in those comment section, or you join in on the conversation on social media or online, please be respectful in whichever way you lean. I am not an expert in cybersecurity, nor do I know how leaks ended up happening. I feel like they could happen from both working from home and in the office. And I'm someone that's never worked in an office before. I've been doing YouTube for going on 12 or 13 years since I was a teenager, and I've always been working from home. So I don't know the benefits of doing one versus the other, or understanding how my productivity might, go up or down. So I'll leave the discussion ultimately up to you guys, again, in those comments down below. Let me know what you think as the video game industry reacts to Rockstar employees having to return to the office to essentially complete Grand Theft Auto 6. Let me know what you think in those comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the GTA 6 videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.